What is going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Supersubs show. This is our second guest episode. I'm joined by Sam, not to be confused with the other Sam, who is also a Spurs fan. Um, but we got a lot. Yeah, because point to the crest. You might want to hide that these days. You might want to be hiding that. But anyway, we got a lot we want to talk about. We have a lot of the same, like, what would you say, fan alliances, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, of
you're a Minnesota United supporter, right? Men's national team supporter.
course.
Anything else? What am I missing?
I
Spurs.
mean, Tottenham, of course.
Yeah.
But just kind of all the leagues in general that you guys talk about and you guys are fans of. I follow as much as I can and watch as much as I can and just enjoy the beautiful game.
Yeah, it's honestly, as Americans, it's like a gift and a curse because we don't have, like, the MLS is cool, but we don't have that like loyalty to a big European league, so we just watch all of them.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
So anyway, I think so. Yesterday the other Sam, right, it's bearded Sam, and I picked our Europa and Champions League brackets, and we were thinking if you want to do that, if you'd like to do that, you can give us your picks, and we can measure those against ours. Do you want to do
Yeah, absolutely. My March Madness picks aren't doing too hot, so I'll go ahead with this and hopefully do a little bit better.
Sweet. So what are you thinking for the Champions League? We have. I will wait, let me just pull up the bracket just to make sure we're So Liverpool, Real Madrid. Who are you thinking there?
I think I'm gonna go with Liverpool. I think
Nice.
they're slowly getting people back from injury. They've been looking better. They haven't lost six straight home games anymore. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean they're coming off a big win against Leipzig where they basically dominated both legs. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Liverpool.
I said the same. So when we started our Champions League talk like a month ago or two, we both picked Liverpool to lose to Leipzig. But now we forget that like injuries are ending. Like they're getting a lot of their players back. So I also picked Liverpool. The other Sam picked Real Madrid, which I'm not so sure about that.
That's it.
And then we had in the bottom of that bracket, in that same side of the bracket, we had Chelsea and Porto. What are you thinking for that?
Well, I know you're a Chelsea supporter, so if I say Porto, I might get the boot here quickly. But I think I am gonna go with Chelsea. Tuchel's got him in shape and playing good defense for the first time in a while. And I don't know. I mean, Porto had a pretty magical game against, or two games against Juventus.
Hmm.
But Chelsea's just a better team, and we'll probably get it done.
Yeah, I agree too. I think we talked about how Chelsea maybe has the easiest route.
Hmm.
Um, maybe they don't have to play Liverpool or Real. They just get to play Porto and then the winner there. So on the other side of the bracket, we got City playing Dortmund. What are you thinking for this one?
Well, this side, I would agree. This side is much harder. I mean, you got both teams who
Yep.
were in the final last year, and then City, who's arguably the hottest team in the world right now.
Yep.
I'm actually going to pick Dortmund, though. I think
Ooh.
Haaland will pose some fits for Stones and Diaz or whoever they play in the back, and I think it'll be lower scoring than imagined. I would guess like maybe 2-1 aggregate.
Wow.
But City's
Okay.
had some issues in the Champions League the last like 3-4 years, and um, I mean, there's no one like Holland in uh, in the Premier League, so they haven't really had to face that. And so I'm gonna go. He'll get both goals, 2-1.
Wow. I mean that is a great point. Holland is unreal. Like he's just like we all know that. I know it's like not like a hot take, but he's so big and
Yeah,
physical and fast and like yeah, who could you compare him to in the Premier League? Like there's really no one
no,
yeah
yeah,
that
no.
they faced.
It's crazy when he runs. He kind of looks like a giant gazelle and just burns past everybody. It's crazy.
He looks dude, to me he looks super unathletic. Like if
Mhm.
someone showed me that I'm like, dude, who is this guy? But I don't know, he gets it done. So
Yeah,
so you're saying Dortmund beating Man City. That's
yeah.
hey,
Hot,
if that
hot
comes
take.
true, might have
Hot
to have
take.
you back on just so you can like, roast us.
I
And then
do.
Bayern PSG are in the bottom of that side. Who you think in there?
Um,
It's
I
tough.
I think this is going to be the best matchup out of the four. Would I think it'll be pretty high scoring. It'll be a lot of action, a lot of back and forth. I think Bayern will win.
Mm.
I think they just have too much. I mean, across the board, it's scary how much depth they have, how much talent they have at every position. And Lewandowski's insane and in great form, and I think there's just too much there for PSG.
Yeah, I said the same thing. The other Sam, well, I won't spoil it. I won't spoil it and say what the other Sam said, but so okay, so you have going back to that other side, you picked Liverpool to play Chelsea. Who you taking there?
I think I'm gonna go with Liverpool.
All
Sorry,
right.
but
No,
yeah,
no,
I
no.
think
It's all
it's
good.
they've got the experience being winning it a couple years ago and being in multiple finals. And I think as good as Chelsea's defense has looked, I think Liverpool's just got too much talent up top, and they'll get it done.
They always score. They
Yeah,
always score. Like it's weird when they don't score. So that's what at least
except
that's what it feels like.
except at home
Um,
against Fulham.
yeah, except for like they did have a stretch there where they didn't really score much at all. And I think we talked about like everyone was blaming it on their defense, but we were like, bro, their offense is horrible right now. So, but yeah, you're right. I think they've recovered from that. So you got Liverpool in the final,
hmm
and are they playing Dortmund or Bayern?
It's got to be Bayern.
Yep.
Haaland can only carry Dortmund so long, and I mean they just played like 2 weeks ago, and Bayern won 4-2, and it was. I mean, Dortmund looked great for half the game, and then Bayern just took over, and that's probably what it'll be like. They're just too good across the board.
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest thing is so okay, well, really quick before I get into it, so you have Bayern playing Liverpool in the final. Who you taking?
Bayern.
Bayern. Okay,
They're
that's
gonna,
what I,
they're
that's what I
gonna,
figured.
yep, they're gonna repeat. Just too good and too in form with everybody.
Yeah, I think so. So my co-host chose PSG to win it all, and we had a big debate about like the PSG Bayern game because if PSG win that, they could, probably win it all. But there's something about Bayern's like just like dominance, like
Yeah.
PSG seemed a little shaky. They conceded that pen. It almost seemed like maybe like, and there's no chance that Lazio were ever going to come back against Bayern.
Yeah, I completely agree. Barcelona almost scored a couple times. Dest hit the crossbar. I think Messi hit the outside of one of the posts. Like I mean, they were, or Messi, yeah, Messi missed a penalty. Like
Hmm.
they were very close to being right back in that game and potentially knocking PSG out for like a second straight crazy matchup. So yeah, I think there's just too much consistency with Bayern and
Yep.
too many kind of little questionable actions by PSG players that Bayern will definitely capitalize on.
Yeah, so actually, I do have a question with the Champions League, or
Mhm.
yeah, with the Champions League. So, right now in the Prem, Leicester's in third, West Ham's in fifth, Spurs are in sixth. I mean, wouldn't really bet on Spurs, but are there any teams you'd be like super excited to see be in the Champions League next year? Like, would you want to see West Ham?
Um, I- Part of me does. I love seeing Lingard playing again. Like I think he's such a fun player, and I think when he scores, like everything is just better. But at the same time, I could see them kind of having like a Leicester impact from back when they won the league and went to the Champions League. They made it pretty far, but it was kind of just like scraping by victories, like not really looking that great. And so that's what I would be worried about if West Ham
Yeah.
is there. Just like not that fun.
Mm,
I think there are a lot of Premier League teams that are way more like high-powered offenses that would be better in the Champions League. I mean, well, City's first, obviously.
yep.
Man U's got the pieces to score against anybody, basically. You said Leicester's in third, right?
Yeah. Somehow they're still in third.
That's crazy. I wouldn't have guessed that because they haven't looked that great recently, but they keep getting results when they need them.
Yeah.
But they, you mean Vardy's kind of slowing down a little bit and getting a couple more injuries here and there. So I don't particularly want them there. I mean, in a perfect world, I would say the two Manchesters, Chelsea and Tottenham. I think that would be like all high
Arsenal.
powered fun. No, definitely not. If they, it'll never happen. But if they got relegated, it would probably be like just under us winning a title. It would be the funniest thing if they got relegated.
There was, I mean, I don't know, was it last year or the year before? There was a bunch like, and I can't remember if it was Everton. It might have been Everton, but they were like sitting like in the relegation zone for like a couple weeks. And people were like, "This is weird. Like, what happens if Everton gets relegated?" But yeah, I don't think
Yeah, it's pretty
is it
funny.
even possible? I,
It basically is. I mean, well, I say that, but then Aston Villa got relegated for the first time ever, like 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
hmm,
And I mean, they've been up for however many years the Premier League's been. I don't say it, call it 100 or something. Like they had
yeah,
never been relegated, and they did. So it's, we say it's impossible, but who
yeah,
knows?
yeah. Okay, so yeah, we might see Leicester. I mean, I have a feeling Chelsea will. Well, I don't really know. But that 4-5 and 3-4-5 and 6 is like kind of a toss up at this point. I mean, Spurs could honestly end in fourth if they
Yeah, for as bad as Tottenham has looked, we're only 3 points off fourth, which
I know,
is
isn't that
shocking. Like
crazy?
we just beat Villa on the weekend, and after that game, I looked at the table and I saw we were in sixth, but only 3 points off fourth, and I was shocked because we've looked, I mean, very shaky for
Yeah.
seems like months, but
And you know what's crazy? Looking at this too, Spurs have won 4 of their last 5, so they have 12 points in their last 5, which is more than Chelsea. Chelsea have 9 in their last 5, but they haven't lost.
that's
What? It's
crazy.
weird.
I
Yeah.
never would have guessed that. Like watching the games, I never would have guessed that.
Yeah. Maybe, well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we just only see the bad side. Like I only ever see the bad side of Spurs because it's like funny to me, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
But I guess I don't watch every Spurs game, so
yeah.
um
One more thing, quick. My
yeah, no, go
roommate,
for it.
my roommate's a Chelsea fan, so our living room TV is basically Spurs or Chelsea every single game. So I see plenty of
Lit.
both, and I mean, you guys have looked way better than us the last month, and somehow we're in better form than you, which doesn't make sense. But
Yeah. Yeah, and we talked about that too, how like Tuchel's so conservative, and how it like makes you like he hasn't lost yet, right? But then if you're drawing like 4 games and winning one, it's like, well, I mean, I guess hey, if you're getting the results, they're in
yeah,
fourth. So um
better than
so
Lampard.
but yeah, yeah, seriously, geez. It was kind of sad. I felt bad for Lampard, but
Yeah.
I can't really say anything else about that. He was doing horrible.
Mm.
So one thing that you mentioned was bad teams. Like, for example, if Leicester made it into the Champions League, it's not fun to watch. Well, have you been watching the Europa League? Because there's some horrible teams in the last 8 right now.
I have
Been bad.
painfully enough to talk about with Dynamo Zagreb coming back and beating Tottenham 3-0 to knock us out. That was brutal. Slavia Praha is kind of, they actually looked good against Rangers, but the previous round they kind of like scraped by Leicester. And yeah, I mean, like I don't get excited to watch a lot of those teams like Granada, um,
Exactly.
Roma, somewhat like Ajax isn't the same that they used to be. Like it's definitely a step down.
Yeah, and that was like the big thing is when I was making my picks, we picked the round of 16 as well. And I didn't want teams like Dynamo, Slavia Praha, Granada, just because I was like, is that really going to be fun? Like, so for example, Granada's playing Man United, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna watch. I don't even think I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah.
Watch it be like a crazy upset, and I just like completely miss out on it. But so do you want to go ahead and pick your last 4 for, or actually the whole? You want to
The
pick
whole,
the whole bracket?
yeah, yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's start with Villarreal and Dynamo, the
Well,
Giant Slayers.
I'm gonna go with Villarreal.
Right.
I didn't watch any of their games fully, but I caught a couple highlights. And they have a lot of guys up top who can score. It
Hmm.
seems like it's pretty evenly balanced. And I think Dynamo. probably relies a little bit too much on Orsic, plus also isn't actually that good of a team and
Right.
doesn't play in that big of a league. So I'm gonna take the Spanish team and go with Villarreal.
Okay, sorry. All sorts of technical difficulties today.
No worries.
But I agree too. I kind of did a thing where I was like top 5 league team versus not top 5 league team, and that's kind of how I made my pick. So Villarreal, you're having them advance, and then they would play the winner of either Arsenal or Slavia Praha.
Well, as much as it pains me to say it, I think Arsenal's going to win. I think Slavia's had a very good run. I mean, knocking out Leicester, knocking out Rangers, who have already clinched the Scottish title. But that's 2 massive wins. But I, Arsenal's just too good. I mean, even when Aubameyang's not in great form, they just have a lot of guys. And now that Odegaard is looking good and contributing, they're a lot tougher than they were prior.
Yeah, I think to me, this has the biggest chance of being an upset.
Mhm.
Um, there's no way, I don't think there's any way Granada will beat Man United and stuff. I think this could be an upset. And I think my co-host I think he picked Slavia Praha here. So you're not a real Spurs fan if you pick Arsenal to
I, I
advance.
hope I hope they win, but I'm going realistic.
All right, that's a good call. And then on the other side, we got Ajax and Roma, and then Man U and Granada. I don't know if you want to do those separately or.
I think Ajax Roma is going to be the best game of this round. I
Yep.
think both teams can score, and both are kind of not. I mean, you don't think of them as like this top tier, but they're both kind of in like this middle tier of towards the upper end. Well, Ajax is the best team in the Netherlands, and then Roma's kind of like right below like Juventus and I guess Napoli right now. So I think it'll be a great game. I'm gonna pick Ajax to go through, but I think it'll be high scoring and close.
Yeah, gotcha. It's a good pick.
And then
Um, Go ahead.
Man U Granada. I think you've already said enough about that. I don't think it's gonna be close. I mean, Bruno Fernandes is the best player from both teams by a mile, and as long as Man U's healthy up top with Rashford and Martial and Greenwood and everybody, as long as they're healthy, I think they will have no issues.
Yeah, they're stacked. We forget that they're stacked. So then you have, sorry, you said Roma, right? Am I?
Ajax.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I was like, so Ajax and Man U.
Yep.
Who are you picking out of that side?
Uh, uh Man U. I
Okay.
I don't really like them per se, but I think they're just too high powered and now that their defense is kind of similar to you guys, their defense kind of like figured out their form. Like Luke Shaw is looking good, and Harry Maguire isn't really making too many dumb mistakes anymore. So as long as their defense is somewhat shored up, they shouldn't have any problem advancing.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? They were, I don't know if you remember, but they were in the Champions League. That's how they entered the Europa League. And we were talking about how, isn't that crazy? And,
Yeah, I forgot about
I think they would have, if they were in this last round of 8, I think we could give them a shot against Dortmund or, Porto, maybe even Chelsea. Like, I think that'd be a great matchup. So it's crazy that they're sitting down in the Europa League, but you got them going to the final. And then the other side, you got Villarreal and Arsenal. What do you
I'm
think?
gonna go with Villarreal.
Oh, okay. All right.
My Spurs side is showing, and also I think Arsenal is prone enough to mistakes that in a semifinal something big is gonna happen, and it'll probably be either like a David Luiz red card or a penalty or uh, one of their other inexperienced defenders just flubbing something and causing
Hmm.
a goal. So I'm gonna go close one, but Villarreal.
All right. And then to win it all,
Man U,
Man
unfortunately,
U.
I
All
think
right.
just too much power. Pogba's back now. He scored the winner against AC Milan. They, I mean, they are a Champions League team. They're second in the Prem. They're here this far for a reason. I mean,
Hmm.
their skill is top to bottom. I think better than any of the other 7 teams. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Unfortunately, I'm gonna go with Man U.
That's all good. I mean, we can't, as being a Premier League fan of a specific club, you can't dodge every like at some point you have to pick a Premier League team,
Yeah,
other than your own. Now,
yeah,
there's no you can't avoid it at some point.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. And I dislike Man U less than I dislike Arsenal, so we'll
all
go with
right.
that.
Yeah. Um okay, so I also picked Man United and Bayern. So I think I don't remember who Sam picked. I think he might have. Let me see if I can Oh, he picked Man U as well. So we'll see. Hey, hopefully it'd be really upsetting for them if they didn't win it. I feel
Yeah.
like at this point. Um, so any other stuff you want to touch on in those competitions, or do you want to talk about some MLS? I know you follow it somewhat closely, right? Or
I do. I guess just a quick shout out to my favorite Champions League moments was when Lucas Moura got the hat trick against Ajax to bring Spurs back from the dead, and the final goal and like the last kick of the game was incredible. And I literally ran around my office because it was like a 2 o'clock kickoff, so I was just finishing up work, but of course wasn't getting anything done. And last kick of the game, Mora slots it in the corner, and I lost my mind and started running around the office.
I started watching soccer fairly late, like only in the last like 3 or 4 years. So I didn't really like care about I just cared about like the story and stuff. And I thought the IX story was 2 years ago, right? Or that was 2 years
It
ago?
was 28. Let's see. Yeah, two times ago.
Two-
Yep.
So and I just remember being like, I felt horrible for Ajax. Like I just remember watching and being like, oh my goodness. But at the same time, I mean, that has to be one of the craziest endings to a game since I started watching soccer. Because
Yeah.
not only did it, so if I remember correctly, if they hadn't scored, Ajax would have advanced, right?
Yep.
Right. So there was no option of a draw.
Yeah. No, that was it. The
Yep.
away goals rule was in play, and if we didn't get another goal, we were out. We were awful in the first leg. Like it was basically all was said and done, and um, little Lucas Moura, with our whole team being hurt, basically put the team on his back, and yeah, just scored a crazy goal. And if you watch it back, the the inches between the defender's foot and the goalie's
And the
hand,
glove.
and like there was no way that it should have like squeaked through everybody to get in, and it did. And it was just crazy.
Well, and yeah, like you mentioned too, it was a hat trick as well.
Mhm.
Like there were two other goals before that too, and I specifically remember one where the Ajax keeper and his defender like fumbled it around a little bit. Do you remember that?
Yep. I think that was the first one. It was kind of just a ball in, and they didn't talk about it well enough, and the goalie kind of tried going through the defender to get it, and it bounced around, and Mora, it fell to his feet, and he somehow like danced kind of backwards between three guys, and then just put it up, like up and over. It was, yeah, that one was a phenomenal goal too. But yeah, terrible defending on their part. And like you said, the story with Ajax was so good, and it was tough for me in that sense too, because if we didn't make it,
Yeah.
like I wanted them to do it, and of course we get matched up with them, and so
Mm,
obviously it's playing my favorite. But yeah, their story was great, and then their team basically got dismantled after that, and now they're in the Europa
totally.
League. So
Yeah. And then Liverpool, then the final was just a shit show. I remember
yeah,
like
yeah,
nah.
there was a penalty in the first minute that nowadays probably wouldn't be a penalty, because it hit kind of like his underside and just like rode up into his armpit, and um, yeah, just terrible start. And I actually think that it threw the whole game off, like both teams, because like Liverpool didn't really know what to do up 1-0 that early. So they kind of like were trying to sit back, but not really. And we weren't doing a whole lot. And it ended up being like a terrible final.
Yeah,
Um,
it was not fun to watch,
yeah. And I think
fortunately.
all of it was that first minute penalty that screwed it up. So unfortunate that that's like the only final we've been in. But I don't know. We got the Carabao Cup coming up.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah, and actually on that same topic too, a couple of the last Champions League finals have been pretty
Mhm.
kind of meh. The PSG Bayern one was kind of meh to me. I mean, two very good teams, but
Yeah.
it wasn't
Well,
really that fun to
it
watch.
was that was 2-0, right?
I think it was just I think it was
1-0.
1-0. Yeah, I think it was just Kingsley Coman who
Yep,
scored,
yep. I
if I
remember
remember.
Coleman scored, and yeah, I mean those are two really high-powered offenses, and to only get one goal out of it is kind of disappointing
Hmm.
when you don't really care about either team. I mean,
Exactly.
you just want to
Exactly.
see a really good game, probably full of lots of chances. I mean, sometimes defensive games are fun, but not in a cup final.
Exactly. Yeah, especially when it's just a single leg, if you will. Um, so we got the MLS season starting up in about about 2 or 3 weeks. Minnesota United, did you see that just today they released their full schedule?
Yep, yep. I did see
We're
that.
going to be playing in November, regular season games in November, which is
There will be
crazy.
snow for sure.
So, how are you feeling about the Minnesota United squad, or any squads that you think are going to be like impressive this year? Maybe.
Um, I I mean, I want to feel good. That's the Minnesota sports fan
I
in
want
me.
to feel good.
You always have hope until it's ripped from you. I will say that I think we lost a lot of pieces from last year. Mainly Kevin
Kevin
Molino,
Molino.
who led our team in goals. Also had 4 goals in the playoffs to lead all scorers across the whole league. I think losing him is massive. Also, with Ike Opara missing most of last year, is he going to come back? I don't know. I hope so.
Hmm.
Our defense is obviously a lot better when he's there. I think there's a lot of question marks. We just signed Juan Agudelo from Miami, who's got, I believe, like 25 U.S. national team caps. So he's
Striker?
got,
Is he a
yep,
striker?
yep, striker. He was supposed to be kind of the next big thing and never really panned out. But I mean, he's solid. He's a decent forward. He should be able to score some goals for us. And then we signed this new guy, Ramon Abila from Boca Juniors, which is also where Reynoso
Reynoso,
came
right? Yeah.
from. So I think between the two of them, Agudela and Abila, I think that hopefully will make up for what we lost with Molino. But I'm worried about us scoring goals. I think Reynoso is a phenomenal player, and if he was there the entire last year, I think he would have been in the MVP conversation. He was that good for the half season he was with us. So I think he will make everyone around him better. So that's the biggest plus I think is Reynoso.
Yeah.
I think being a semifinalist last year and losing the way we did to Seattle, um, I I think we should at least be gunning for top 4 in the West, which would be a home playoff game. I think anything less than that is a disappointment. I mean, we were essentially second in the West last year, got to the Western Conference Finals. We also were in the semifinals of the MLS's back tournament. So
Yeah.
two
Lost
semi
to Orlando, I think,
Yep,
right?
yep. In Orlando with Nani was just too good for us, basically. But yeah, I mean, 2 semifinals last year. I would say, yeah, anything below top 4 in the West would be a disappointment. If we don't make the playoffs at all, I think you need like a full restructuring if that happens. But I think Reynoso is good enough that we'll make the playoffs. I don't know. I would probably guess somewhere in the 6-3 range. I don't think we're gonna be.
Very scientific, accurate.
I
Yeah.
I think Seattle and LAFC will be back at the top. I don't think we're as good as either of those two squads.
Seattle annoys me. I hate Seattle
Yeah,
more
yeah,
than any Premier League team. Oh my goodness.
that's funny. I feel the same way about Atlanta United. I think a lot of it
Mm.
was like coming into the league at the same time, and like they spent money, we didn't. They play inside in a football stadium, like they think they're the shit. Like,
Oh, our stadium is so much better. No
yeah,
question. Just to let
yeah,
them know. For anyone who hasn't seen our
yeah.
stadium, it is
It
miles better.
it's yeah, Allianz Field is top notch. I haven't been to many MLS stadiums, but I've seen pictures and watched games, and Allianz Field is incredible. I've actually had season tickets since year 1 of the MLS, which has been a blast. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah, was that you mean so that was that up in Blaine? Was it?
So the first year we were in MLS was at TCF Bank Stadium.
Ah, right. I should
Prior
know
to the
that.
MLS, prior to the MLS, we were in NASL, North American Soccer League. And when we were in that league, which is basically Division Two, then we were playing up in Blaine. I
Okay.
think we were playing up there for, I mean, probably close to 30 years across like 5 different team names.
Mhm.
It was kind of like always the staple. And then this is actually the 5th year we've been in MLS. So 4 years ago, well, I guess 5 years ago, we were named one of the new expansion teams, and we're worst in the league the first 2 years, but have made the playoff 2 years in a row since then. So slowly getting better, I think.
Yeah, and I was thinking about the state Allianz Field was completed. So the opening games were played there in 2019, I believe. Um, and the last game that was played with fans in that stadium, do you know what it was?
Last Minnesota United game or last?
Yes. Sorry, yeah.
I would guess it would be the playoff game that year.
Yeah, it was the LA Galaxy playoff game, which to me feels like ages ago.
Yeah,
And there haven't been fans in that stadium since that would have been the fall of 2019.
yeah,
Isn't that
about
just
October time.
sad?
That's crazy.
It was open for like 8 months. It's been closed longer than it was open, I think.
Yeah, which is crazy. I mean, it took them a lot longer to build than I think they expected.
Hmm.
So our that first year, this season, the home opener was against New York City, and it actually was like 5 games into the season because the
Oh,
stadium like wasn't
ready?
like gonna be ready. So they
Mm,
pushed they when they built the schedule, they were like, no, you guys are gonna be on the road the first 5 games of the year.
gotcha.
Which actually I think was tough. I think we were only like either 1-4 or like 1-3 or something. We didn't fare too well that first year before coming home, but since we've opened Allianz Field, I think our home record has been very good. Yeah, if you or if any listeners haven't been, for sure go.
It's
It
a
is
great
a wonderful atmosphere, great everything.
Yeah, and I think they built. I mean, it's like about 20,000, which for a soccer stadium in the U.S., I guess is decent size. But they built it small, is the impression that I got, so that the atmosphere is really like electric. And I think it's. I have been there a couple times. And yeah, if you're in the Twin Cities, you got to check it out. Tickets are cheap too. For some of those
Say,
upper level tickets are super cheap. So,
even
hopefully,
lower level you can get for probably like 40-50 bucks, which
yeah,
for
cheap.
and the seats are, like you said, the seats are really close. So even if you're in row 20 of the lower level, you're really only in, like, say a football stadium, you're probably only like 5 rows back there. Like it is a very close environment, which just adds to the whole atmosphere.
Yeah. So we're promoting Allianz Field, but it is a great place to go.
Mhm.
Fun to watch games there. And I think I think who know I really don't know, but I think Minnesota United could be good again this season, and hopefully they'll be getting fans back um soon. I don't know what other states are doing, but right now in Minnesota, it's like I think they'll let in 5,000. I
Mhm.
think.
I think 5,000 is going to be the cap.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, compared to 20, it's a fourth, but also compared to 0, it's
It's
5,000. So I would
exactly.
imagine that playing in front of 5,000 will lead to a better home field advantage than we had last year with no fans. So
Totally.
yeah, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear the Wonderwall singing and everything. So it should be a blast.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're getting me excited. You're getting me excited. I'm getting excited like talking about it,
Yeah,
thinking
I
about
mean,
that.
we
So
got like less than a month. We got about like 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks till the first game. So it's coming up here quick.
yeah, and thinking optimistically, who knows? But I think come some of those later games in September, October, we could be looking at least half capacity. I mean, I would hope that there would be at least half capacity, if not 75. I don't want to, you know, jinx it or anything, but hopefully some of those later games could get pretty exciting with more fans. So
Yeah, I mean, with the way that things are going, like 2 weeks ago, we weren't even going to have any fans. So now that we
Yeah.
get 5,000, I mean, yeah, by the end of the year, by 6 months from now, when the team is still playing, like it could be drastically different. Hopefully for the better.
Yeah, totally, totally. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I don't know if do you want to talk about some men's national team stuff? Do you have anything you want to like get off your chest about that, or are you
Yeah,
feeling?
absolutely. I guess first thing would be the Olympic qualifier.
Yeah.
The so Hassani Dotson, who's one of the Loons players, he scored twice in their last qualifier. It was a pretty easy game, but still getting two goals internationally is great. They play Mexico tonight, so it should be
Oh no, do
yeah.
they?
I think it's like 8:30 Central Time tonight. Yeah, so I
What
think the
channel
winner
is that on?
I would guess either
uh,
ESPN Plus or one of the Foxes.
gotcha.
Uh,
Okay, I
yeah.
didn't even
So
know.
yeah. So that's tonight. Winner takes the group. I think both teams have advanced for sure. So
Yep.
a kind of just a formality to play this. Because I'm pretty sure 4 advance, and then like
Y-
3. I guess I don't know the full qualifying, but I know both us and Mexico have already advanced.
Right, right. I don't fully understand it either. But I forget who it was. Costa Rica. Who did we beat? Like for who was that?
We played Dominican Republic.
That's who. Okay, that's
And
who Hassani Dotson scored
yeah,
against. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure. In Costa Rica, we beat 1-0.
yeah, that was the
Um. So yeah, we should advance, but I might be wrong, but I don't even think we qualified for the last Olympics.
we didn't. I don't remember the exact situation, but I know it came down to the last game and it was winning we're in, losing we're out, and we lost. Um, I'm pretty sure we actually haven't qualified for the last few, which is really sad. Um, but I think so it has to be youth players. And I think a
Yep.
lot of our youth players kind of skipped this level. Like
Yep.
you got Pulisic, Tyler Adams, Weston McKinney, etc. And I don't think any of them really played in these games. So
They
um,
didn't. They're in Austria playing with international friendlies.
yeah,
So
it's,
uh you're right. You're totally right.
it's yeah. So it's sad we haven't qualified in a while, but at the same time, we're not focused on this as much. It seems like yeah.
So I have some beef with that because I think I don't know if you remember. Do you remember when Brazil won the Olympics with Neymar?
Yep.
That was like Neymar's chance to like he was like in tears, like he was like it was like the best moment of his life, and that's what really like springboarded his kind of well, and then he got injured a bunch and whatever. But that's what really like we saw the passion and like that was like a really large international trophy.
Mhm.
And I'm like, why aren't we bringing in some of our talent? Like
Yeah.
even players like Gio Reyna, like why he's not in the squad.
Yeah.
Um, Dest is only 20. He could definitely be in the squad, It's I
Yeah.
don't know.
It's I agree with you. I mean, we're playing all those guys that you mentioned and I mentioned, they're playing in just friendlies. Like those games don't
Mhm.
mean anything. Why wouldn't they go play for the Olympic qualifiers and get in for the first time in a while? Like it doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, I think we're playing like Jamaica and
Northern
North.
Ireland.
Okay, yeah, Jamaica and
There's
Northern Ireland.
why? Like you'd rather play Northern Ireland than play Mexico? Like I don't
Yeah.
know.
We don't
Maybe
need we don't need Dest, we don't need Pulisic, we don't need Reyna, we don't need all those guys for those games. Like, let's get to the Olympics and put out some I don't know other MLS guys in the friendlies and just see what we have. Like we know those guys are going to be with us for the next World Cup. Like they don't need these international like tryouts or whatever. Like
yeah, and I think that's like that's the thing that confuses me a little bit is I'm like, yeah, why don't you think it's better experience for maybe not, but I feel like it's better experience for Pulisic to be playing against like some CONCACAF teams. I guess I think he can also not play in qualifiers and then come in for the Olympics. I think they can do that. So
okay,
maybe that's the plan.
yeah.
Um, but I'm like Northern Ireland, is that a better opponent? Maybe. I don't know. I don't even can't even name a Northern Irish player, I don't think.
Um Trying to test my FIFA skills here.
Dude,
Yeah, I got
there's
nothing.
there's none. Let's see here. their top result was Steven Davis. Johnny Evans. Do you know Johnny Evans?
Yep.
Johnny
The
Evans.
Leicester defender or ex-Leicester defender, or is he currently with Leicester?
I think he might be injured. I mean, he might still be there,
Okay.
but
Okay. Yeah. I know.
so that's their best player.
Okay. Well, that's silly.
Silly.
Like playing against Mexico should be much more important, even if it is like the youth. Like I mean,
Yeah.
that's a chance for those guys to like really be leaders and show the other young players in our country like what it takes. I mean,
Yeah.
this will be probably the last chance for them to qualify based on ages and whatnot for the next
Yep.
Olympics. So why not get in? Why not show the younger guys what it takes? I'm pretty sure that the captain is Jackson Ewell, who unfortunately Minnesota United did not draft and is now a stud for
Quakes, right?
San Jose.
Mm-hmm.
But like, why not put him around Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie? Like, why not develop him better throughout that process instead of having uh, Sebastian Lletget play with McKinney and Adams? Like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah. And to be fair, like I'm sure Greg is thinking about this every day and he's got 1,000 players on his mind and all this. But yeah, I totally agree that it seems like the Olympics should be somewhat of a priority. I would so much rather we went to the finals in the Olympics than won the Gold Cup. And that
Yep.
might be a controversial take, but I want to see some real international like opponents, you know?
Yeah, I mean the Olympics is other than um, the World Cup is the biggest stage for us. I mean the Gold
Right.
Cup that's not like world renowned. It's not this
Right.
huge stage. Like the Olympics is literally the whole world. And like you said, like Neymar won it with Brazil. Like we should be trying to replicate that. Like obviously we're not going to be like Brazil, but we should at least try. And yeah, who
Oh
knows?
no.
Who
Yeah, we should
knows?
try, right?
Yeah, we should at least try.
And I think, yeah, you bring up a good point too. Like, the European teams have the Euros, and South American teams have Copa America. It's Copa America, right?
Yeah,
And we have the Gold Cup. No one cares about the Gold Cup, you know?
yeah.
So I
I
think right? Am I the only one who's just like, I don't
oh,
really care?
I
We
mean
played Curacao
yeah.
at Allianz Field during the Gold Cup. No one even knows what that is. It's, you know?
That was like a 6-0 result, 7-0 result, something like that. Like
It,
it's
they're just they're like an island. Well, anyway, I'm not gonna get into it, but it's like no one cares about the Gold Cup, basically.
no, like no. And this is basically our first chance since missing the World Cup to like do something. I mean, it's been a
Yeah,
whole lot of like random friendlies, like games that don't really matter that much. Like this Olympics will be the first like actual competition that our federation has.
it's a
And
great point.
I mean, if we don't make it, like obviously that's awful.
That's an issue. That's an
Yeah.
issue. I
Yeah.
remember. Do you remember that rant that I forget who it was. It
Daily
was
Fallen.
yes, yeah, yeah. He went on this rant and he was like, "Dude, this is after we didn't qualify." Obviously you know that. I'm just for the
Yep,
viewers who
yep, for
don't
the viewers.
know, like, so after we didn't qualify, he went on this rant. And he was like, "Listen, like, we haven't been at the last couple Olympics. Like, those are the minutes for those players that we need to develop and have like a good national team." So,
Yeah.
I think it's important. Yeah,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's definitely important. That rant's one of my favorite rants by an announcer of all time. I mean, he put it plainly. Just kept like yelling, like, "What are we doing? Like, we lost to Trinidad and Tobago, a team we should never lose to, let alone with our whole World Cup like life on the line. Granted, everything else that could have gone wrong with other results did go wrong. Panama snuck in because like an own goal or something. Like a couple other teams got lucky results that ended up knocking us out as well. But I mean, all we had to do was tie. All we had
yeah,
to do was tie, and we just no showed and lost, and that was terrible.
yeah. And so like teams like Italy and the Netherlands missed the World Cup. And I'm like, okay, like we missed it too. We're not that bad. But then you look at like who they had to beat and
Mhm.
not lose to, and then you look at who we had to beat, and that's just like so embarrassing. Like I'm glad. I think hopefully the rest of the world doesn't really know that how bad the teams are that we were playing. But um, yeah, it can't happen again. I will not let it happen again. I will not let us not qualify again. No way.
If it happens again, like, well, I think I thought we needed a whole like top to bottom restructuring after the last one, but if it happens again, like our whole federation needs to go. Like we just need to start over, and there's no excuses anymore. Like back then, we
Yep.
could maybe say like, oh, we had a bunch of MLS guys or unproven, like kind of second tier English or European guys, but now it's like, oh, we got guys on Chelsea, on Juventus, on uh all these top Barcelona and all these top teams. Like we have no excuses to not make the World Cup anymore.
Yeah, and I'm really really confident. And I think we all should be. You know, but yeah, I think we're gonna be fine. But
Yeah.
yeah, it would be
Still,
devastating if it
yeah.
didn't happen.
Still got the little feeling trickling in that's like, oh, maybe it'll happen again.
But then at that point, if it does happen again, it's almost like, is it even that bad? Because at that point, you're right. It's like got everything, like literally, like no money, no more of this bullshit. Like it's over. Like we're restructuring. So, but yeah, I think this is a recovery. We'll make it.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean the future is bright for so many of our young players, and
Hmm.
they're all going to be young for the next like two World Cups. I mean, Pulisic I think is like 22, maybe
Somewhere
20,
around there.
23. I mean,
He's
World Cup's next year, 24. Next World Cup's 4 years. He's 28, and and I think he's on the older end of like kind of that group. So if all our best players are playing now and then playing again in 4 years when they're basically in their prime, like we should be golden.
Yeah, I actually you bring up a good point. I saw a graphic that outlined the ages that everyone will be. Um, okay, so 2026, Pulisic will be 28. Tyler Adams will be 27. Weston McKennie will be 27. Tim Weah will be 26. Josh Sargent will be 26. Dest will be 25. So he could literally play in three more, which is ridiculous. You know, Yunus Musa will be 23. Gio Reyna will be 23. I mean, that's in 2026.
Yeah.
So are they almost too young for this World Cup? Like what? So
I mean, I'm
yeah,
sure Greg will take like Altidore and Michael Bradley and some of the older like kind of centerpieces to I guess balance out the youth.
you think?
I would guess he'll take some. I think you need it. I don't think you can have a team full of 20 to 23 year olds competing in the World Cup. I think you need some sort of veteran leadership. Maybe not even to play, but just to
Yeah.
be there. Like
Yeah.
like pull a couple guys who
Tim
were at
Howard.
the last World Cup. I would love that.
That'd be sick. Just sits on the bench the whole time.
Yeah,
It's
honestly, he
like,
should be our like goalkeeper coach. Like
yeah, no, that'd be sick.
he was phenomenal. I mean, he was good in the Premier League. He was good in
Great in
MLS.
the World Cup.
Yeah, great in the World Cup. I mean, that game against Belgium, he kept us in it. I mean, we
Hmm.
had no business being in that game, and he had what like 19 saves or something crazy, like 14, whatever
It
number it
was a
was.
lot.
It was insane. Like he was saving everything, and yeah, if only Wondolowski had finished it.
Oh, okay. All right. We're just gonna like skip past that. No, but what I was thinking of is players like so I noticed Tim Ream is in the camp. I would be okay with Tim Ream maybe making. I mean, he'll be in his early 30s. You know, but yeah, I think you're right. There's gonna Altidore will probably maybe Zar. Do you think Zardes will make it?
I hope not, but I would guess yes. I I, I think he's kind of I don't know what the best way to put this is. I think he's very good at being in the right position, but he can't create much of anything for himself. And I feel like as a striker at a world level like the World Cup, I think you need to be able to create. Um, and I- he's rubbed me the wrong way for a while, so I hope not. But I mean, him and Altidore are probably our two best options right now. Sargent's actually been in really good form, but prior to that, he was struggling a little bit. And I mean, that kind of sucks to say, but yeah, our striker pool hasn't been the best for a while, basically since Dempsey like
Yeah.
retired.
Yeah, I agree too about Zardes where he if you give him a ball that's rolled perfectly on the ground, he can hit it and score. But if you're set like a lot of times he can't beat players one on. I don't think I've ever seen him beat anyone one on one, and he can't really like take the ball down and create chances. So I'd almost rather have someone who's just like a center forward, like who
Yeah.
just gets the ball on their chest and can pass it to Pulisic and Reina, and
Mhm.
which he doesn't really seem like he can even do that. So
Yeah, I don't know if any of the US players
yeah.
can. Yeah, I think that's our uh worst position group right now.
Yep.
I think mids were
Yep.
solid, wingers were solid, defense we're getting there. We have a lot of young guys coming up for defense. Goalie, I think we're perfectly fine.
Yep.
But yeah, strikers, it's still a little murky, and hopefully either someone steps up in the World Cup qualifying or in the next year uh, for the friendlies and the different qualifiers and everything. And hopefully it's a little bit more set in stone when we make the World Cup.
Right. Yep. And we just have to kind of wait and see.
Hmm.
You're right. It might just be Josie Altidore. May just be. So
Who knows?
who knows, right? Only Greg knows. Oh, Greg doesn't even know.
No,
So
he probably doesn't.
not yet. Yeah. So anything else you wanted to touch on as far as any of that goes? I feel like that was a great discussion on our poor country's national team and
Yeah, no,
our
I think it was
struggles.
good. I will say that today the World Cup no, sorry. Yeah, the World Cup qualifying for Europe started.
Yeah.
Um, and Turkey upset the Netherlands 4-2.
4-2. Yeah.
I thought it was a crazy result. Obviously Netherlands missing some pieces like Van Dijk, but I looked at their lineup and they were playing
They're stacked.
top guys,
Yeah.
and they're losing to this Turkey team who doesn't field very many top 5 league players. And so that was a crazy result. And then France and Ukraine tied as well, which for Ukraine is a massive result. France
Mm-hmm.
has got to be kicking themselves about that one. Yeah, I mean, I love this time.
Yep.
You're
Same.
leading up to this tournament. You got all these great teams playing against each other, basically playing for their lives, and it's so fun to watch.
Yeah, and it's unique, especially like you say, like playing for their lives. Like some of these teams, like the Ukrainian team, some of these guys, aren't, some of these teams aren't top tier quality, but they just like play their hearts out for their country. And like rarely do you get to see some of these like crazy upsets. Like Turkey beating the Netherlands is unreal,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
great to watch.
absolutely.
So
And it's similar to what happened with Iceland in both the last World Cup and the Euros. I mean, they went on this huge, crazy run in the Euros. Like they knocked out England, they beat all these top teams. Like I could barely name 2 players on Iceland's team,
yeah.
but uh, yeah, I mean that's what these tournaments are about. They give everybody a chance, and occasionally you have a little smaller nation come through, and yeah, it's crazy. The passion that the players and the fans and like the country show is crazy. And um, I I watched World Cups kind of back in like '06 ish, but never really cared about it until, let's see, probably 2010 a little bit, but 2014 was when it was like, okay, now this is like the best. Like this is what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
This is so much fun. And I think as a country, the US took to the World Cup a lot as well. And it's it's awesome to see, and it only grows the game here, which I think we desperately need.
Yeah, I'm tired of all the all the people here in the US who don't watch soccer, who I talk like, talk about like our team and they say, "Aren't we horrible? Don't we suck? Aren't we? Didn't we even?" I'm just like, "Can you just shut up? Can you just shut up? Like it's not that simple, okay?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know we dominate in every other sport all the time, but we don't dominate in soccer. It's not that simple." So, whatever.
yeah. And that makes it fun. I mean, it's fun watching these teams that you kind of strive to be like. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, we've never. we had a couple good runs in like 94. We made it to the World Cup semifinals, but um, a lot of times we don't make it very far. And so then you watch all these other great teams with great players, and it's like, oh, I want our guys to be like that. I want our guys to like strive to be like that. And I think for kids, they see that and they're like, oh, I want to be like Neymar. I want to be like Mbappe. That like and now they're starting to say that about like Pulisic, and it's like it's awesome to see because we finally have guys at the top level that you can watch on a normal like day. I mean, for a while you struggled to watch games, at any games really, but now it's like, oh, I get to watch uh, a right back that represents the U.S. play for Barcelona. Like
Yeah,
it's crazy, and it's an awesome time, and I think things are on the up and up.
totally. I think we got to just leave it at that. I think that was that was a great little outro you just did right there. That was
Sure, why
awesome.
not?
But yeah, I'm kind of out of things to talk about. I mean, I could talk about this for, the rest of the night probably. But is there anything else? We got to have you, number one, we got to have you back on what come either the World Cup or qualifiers or Euros, or I know we're going to try and do a viewing party assuming
Yeah.
COVID allows it. So we got to have you back regardless, but anything else you wanted to quickly say, get out
I
there?
guess last thing, well, two things. One, if Tottenham finishes above Arsenal as they should, I will be awesome and happy and celebrating. And two, I coach soccer at De La Salle High School on
No
Nicollet Island in
way.
Minneapolis. So if we let's see, we got to the section final last year, lost. The year before, we were in the section semifinal and lost. I don't know. Anyways, we got a pretty good team. If you or anybody else wants to watch some decent high school soccer this coming fall,
Yeah.
it's out on the island, so it's a fun atmosphere, and yeah, come through. It's a good time.
Dang, I didn't know that. I wish I would have I wish I would have known. That's dope. That's sick.
Yeah,
That is, yes, plug. It's here. Maybe we'll toss that in the description as well.
yeah, for
It's like the website or whatever. We can do that. So, um, anyway, I think that's about it for this guest episode. Well, we got to have you back now. We got to have you back. Come, like, at least come fall when your team's playing and stuff. We got to talk about that too.
Yeah, for sure. We can do a season update, and hopefully at that point, Minnesota United will be squarely in the playoff picture, and hopefully the U.S. will be, I don't know, qualified and won the Olympics, and we can go on and on
Whoa.
about that.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thanks again for coming on. I appreciate it. It's always fun to talk about it. And we'll uh we'll have you back on sometime. And to all of our viewers, we'll see you next week for our weekly episode.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.